Hey everybody, welcome to another chapter of the book of Sean. It is good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm excited about this show tonight. We're going to have a great conversation with my dear sister Rebecca. Listen, have you ever had to always be the one to make sure everybody was all right, and you always saying yes, and you're always helping, and you're always carrying and loving, and if it's got to be cooked, you the one cooking, and if you's got to be carried, you the one carrying it, and ain't nobody trying to help you do nothing. Everybody's benefiting from your generosity, your goodness, your kindness, and the fact that you love Jesus. Everybody's profiting from the fact that you saved. That's my dear sister Rebecca. I can't wait to talk to her tonight because she's helping. You know, she's always helping and loving and being good to people. And I'm going to help her not be so saved. My job tonight is to help encourage her with a little laughter and a little fun and a little, a little emotional seriousness to sort of create space for herself to flourish and to grow, because she deserves that. You know what I'm saying? And so do you. We're going to do some Ask Dr. Sean. I'm going to talk about Tinder tonight. I'm going to talk about the Republicans. I got some stuff to do. Let's do some headlines right now. Come on. Shall the Republican National Committee have lost their damn minds? Let's all say amen together. You guys saw just a few days ago that they just called what happened on January 6th, and I quote, legitimate political discourse. They called that legitimate political. This is beyond insane, people. See, and what it is two things. First of all, it's an attempt for the Republican National Committee to kiss Donald Trump's ass, because that's what he wants them to call it. So that's what they call it. Whatever Donald wants them to do, that's what they do, because nobody in the Republican Party apparently has much of a spine. But here's the other thing, and more importantly, when the Republican National Committee calls what happened on January 6th legitimate political discourse, what they're really doing is they're trying to convince the rest of us that what we saw and that what happened and that what hurt us didn't hurt as much as we thought it did. It wasn't a lie. It was a little lie. It wasn't violence. It was a little violence. It wasn't a problem. It was just a little inconvenient, legitimate political discourse. These are all the things that people say when they want you to be okay with the fact that they had assaulted you. Talk to me right through here. These are all the things people say to you when they want you to swallow whatever it is they're giving you. And they don't want you to have an opinion about your own pain. You know that you are in the hands of a master brutalizer when the person who is hurting you doesn't want you to have an opinion about your pain. You don't get to say nothing. I get to hurt you, and then I get to tell you how much it hurt. That's what the Republican National Committee, and this is beyond gaslighting, people. I mean, of course it's gaslighting, but it's deeper than gaslighting. Someone else thinking that they have the right to determine how you should feel about your own hurt, that's not gaslighting, that's evil. And anybody in your life who's trying to determine how you monitor, track, and feel about what they did to you is functioning on a level of malevolence and evil that must be confronted. What happened on January 6th was not legitimate political discourse. It was illegal, it was immoral, and it was deadly. People died that day. The Republican Party is not just a disgrace, it is an anathema. And quite frankly, I hope Rebecca's not a Republican, because she's not going to like what I'm about to say. But anybody who's still a Republican after Republicans just supported what the Republicans did on January 6th, they're also immoral, unethical, and crazy. How can you follow after a group of people who would threaten democracy and act like it didn't happen? If Barack Obama led and fermented an insurrection, I would disavow and disown him to his face. I don't care that he's black. No premonition of identity or racial solidarity would ever convince me to condone evil. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And I don't care if I love you or not. If my own sons, and I got two of them, if my own sons were out here breaking the law and they came to my house, you ain't breaking the law around me. If you're wrong, you're wrong. I don't care how much I love you. I'm not co-signing evil. We just hope that maybe one day the Republican Party might decide that ultimately it's invested in more than just helping some white people feel good about being white people and that they're interested in America being the place that they told us it could always be. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Alabama parents. Apparently there's some parents in Alabama, this is going to shock and amaze you. There's some parents in Alabama who think that Black History Month is a way of teaching critical race theory. What? So apparently some parents in Alabama thought that the teaching of Black History Month in schools was akin to critical race theory. So they called the superintendent of a local Alabama school district to complain that, Black History Month should be done away with, okay? Now here's the amazing thing. People who don't like critical race theory, although, by the way, it's not taught in schools, it has never been taught in schools, it's only taught in law schools. But people who don't like critical race theory and don't like affirmative action, they kind of humor me because they skip over the fact and they skip over the truth of why we needed it, right? So why did we ever need to teach critical race theory or have affirmative action? You can't skip over the need for it and just get to the fact that you don't like it, okay? When a country teaches a people to hate themselves for 300 years, right? Literally. I wish I was being metaphorical. When a country teaches a people to hate themselves for 300 years, and those people finally decide that they should have a month to love themselves, how do you have a problem with that? You've been teaching the people to hate themselves for 300 years, and those people decide that they should have a month to love themselves, and you have a problem with that? I'm sorry if loving me is a problem for you. I'm sorry if loving me is a problem for you because it teaches me that you don't really like me. Because if you liked me, you would like the fact that I'm loving me, and you would join me in loving me because loving me empowers me to love you. See how I did that, Steve-O? Steve-O's here today. 2-3 abandoned me. Steve-O's here. I'm just saying, how is loving me a problem for you? Loving me doesn't mean that I hate you. I don't hate you, okay? And most black folks in this country certainly don't hate white people. We don't hate African people. We're not haters. We're not hating people because of their race. Loving me does not mean that I hate you. It just means that I love me, and you should want me to love me because the more I love me, the more I'm capable of loving you. So apparently a couple of parents called and said that they didn't want Black History Month because, it's offensive and it makes them feel bad. But here's what they should know. Nobody gave us permission to have Black History Month, people. Nobody said, you know what? Y'all get to have, nobody gave black people permission to have Black History Month. And if my mama was here, my mama would say, the world didn't give it to us and the world can't take it away. You didn't give me permission to do Black History Month, so you don't get to take it away. I got some news for these parents down in Alabama, Steve-O. Here it is. You may not like you can not like Black History Month all you want, but it ain't going nowhere. I promise you it ain't going nowhere. Black people and brown people and women and queer people and people, we are not going to stop loving ourselves, okay? I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it just bothers you, but we're not going to stop. Black folks are not going to stop loving ourselves. We're going to keep loving ourselves whether it makes you uncomfortable or not. And if it hurts your little feelings that I'm out here loving myself, then your little feelings are going to get hurt, but I got some good news for you. If you just go to Jesus, you can get healed. And here's the wisdom. You ready for this? Rebecca, listen to this. This one is good. If you don't like the part that I played in my story, then you should have been a better human being, and you would have had a better part. Woo! They paid me to do this, Steve. I can't believe it. Let's do one more. Maybe two more. So have you guys been watching the Beijing Olympics? Okay, I've not been watching one bit of it. I have not seen 1 minute of the Beijing Olympics at all, okay? Have you guys been watching it? But it's going on in Beijing, and apparently the FBI told athletes going from this country to the Olympics that they should keep their personal cell phones home. Not because the phones don't work, but because the Chinese government is draconian in its need for espionage. And so the FBI was like, keep your personal phone home because the Chinese will know what porn sites you like. That was for Steve. I'm just trying to say. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. So I suppose a lot of the athletes can. Now here's why I wanted to do this story. Can you imagine being in the Olympic Village with a bunch of teenagers and 20-year-olds who don't have their cell phones? Can you imagine the kind of crazy and insane withdrawal that's going on with these 20-year-olds who can't go on Twitter and TikTok? There should be a documentary just following the athletes around as they go through phone withdrawal. And before y'all get to laughing, remember that time when you thought you almost lost your phone and how your whole world fell apart? Remember the time you thought you lost your phone and you started pleading the blood and coming against every devil you could find? Oh, I remember it, Steve, but I thought I lost my phone. I was like, we are addicted to these phones, man. The whole country is a phone addict. We're sitting around. I was sitting around the other day trying to remember how did I get to places before GPS? I can't even remember how I found places. I didn't have a map. I don't know how I did it. Listen, if you think staying in the house with a mask drove people crazy, let there be a condition that pops up that's connected to handling and having your phone. And people will go crazy. And come to think of it, there is a condition that's connected to handling and having your phone. It's called Comparisonitis. And it's a disease where you compare your life to other people because of what you saw on your phone. And a lot of people have that disease already, and they are practically, for all practical purposes, already insane. Stop comparing your life to people and remember that even if you don't have a phone, you can still have a relationship. Let's do my last one. I was watching Netflix the other day, and I saw a documentary on the Tinder swindler. Did you see this? You see this, Netflix? Oh, you haven't seen it. Rebecca, I saw your face. You haven't seen this? You have to see this, Rebecca. Oh my God. Check out the Tinder swindler. So spoiler alert. This guy goes around, he meets women on Tinder, and he gets money from them. I mean, millions of dollars from people. And he takes the money that he gets from one woman and he gives benefits to another woman, gets more money from her. So he has this full circle swindling thing going on. Okay? And this guy he lives this lavish lifestyle. Okay? And his name, let me give you his name. His name is Shimon Haut. He's Israeli. And he puts himself out like he's a son of a billionaire. And the man is absolutely broke. He comes from a very poor section of in Israel, in Tel Aviv. And women on Tinder have literally been giving this man millions of dollars. He's flying on private jets, driving Bentleys, Rolls Royces, designer watches, $100,000 watches, all from women giving him their money. Steve, I wish I could put Steve's face on camera because his face says it all. His face, he's thinking, what the hell? You can't get nobody to give you no money, huh? Me either, Steve. No, I'm just saying. Now check this out. He went to jail for this. They caught up with him, right? If you watch a documentary on Netflix, he went to jail for this, and he got out, and guess what happened? Tinder did not kick him off. So he went back on Tinder and did it again. But I'm happy to report that Tinder has finally kicked him off. And they kicked him off not because he destroyed the lives of women, but because people found out about it. Tinder does not get any moral applause today because they should have kicked him off the first time he was arrested and convicted for using their app to destroy people's lives. They only kicked him off now because there's a documentary about it. They kicked him off for public relations, not because they cared about the public. But I got some advice for you. I got a minute before I got to take this. I got some advice for you because this is what I do, right? I give advice and this is what I do. If somebody keeps asking you for money after they told you that they got a job or that they got money, you should pack your bags and run. If somebody keeps asking you for money and money becomes the condition for them to be connected to you, pack your bags and run. You hear me? People will abuse you if you let them. And when you go on Tinder or Plenty of Fish, what's another one? I don't know. I'm not on none of them. If you go on any of these dating sites to find somebody, everybody ain't there for love. Everybody ain't there for good intentions. And if you let people abuse you, I promise you they will do it every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Here's my policy for everybody. You ready? Write this down. Write this across the portals of your heart. If I have to buy you, I don't want you. Teach, Dr. Sean. How come you didn't say teach, Dr. Sean? Wake up over there, man. I'm just trying to tell you, if I got to buy you, I don't want you. Because when the money runs out, the relationship's going to run out too. So anyway, back to Tinder. I'll end with this. Hurting people should be the standard for being removed from an app, not whether or not a documentary gets made about it. Be careful, okay? I know you want love, and I know you deserve love, but there are a lot of people out there who don't want you to have it, but I'm not one of them. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Steve-O didn't understand the Tinder swindler. He didn't understand what was wrong with that. He's lying to people, taking their money, man. He thought he was a playboy. Anyway, let's get to Rebecca. My sister's here, and I can't wait to talk to her. Hey, Rebecca.
Hey.
Rebecca Bradley, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. First, let me thank you for coming on. I love your energy already. Let me just tell you that.
Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. So before we get into the meat of the matter, which is why we brought you here to talk about this dynamic with your family and your generosity and all of that. I got a few questions just generally. I like to just sort of get to know your heart, your mind, your spirit. So permit me to indulge me, the silliness of my mind. Here's my first question. What's your favorite thing to do?
I'm really outgoing. So like you mean like activity wise?
Whatever, anything. Just give me whatever comes up.
I like to go out bowling. I like working in the entertainment business, but I'm like kind of a homebody. So I just be chilling, watching TV, hanging with my kids, my friends,
Okay. I listen. I'm not a big bowler. I don't like really going out. I'm a homebody too. I like being. I have my house because I like my house and I don't mind being there. You know what I'm saying?
I like watching Netflix, like the shows we were talking about, the Swindler.
Have you seen it?
No, I'm gonna watch it after this.
Watch it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna thank me for it. Listen, you're gonna sit there like, y'all did what? They gave him millions. Anyway, so let me get to my next question, because you and I could talk about that for 2 hours. All right. Tell me about a time in your life when you felt absolutely amazing.
When I felt amazing?
Yes.
Actually, it's like I feel amazing with my work, like what I do, like television, the radio, when I'm around my family, stuff like that.
So your work is the thing that fills you and gives you vitality.
It really does. It's like it's fun. It's something that I love to do. So, some people like go to work and it's like, oh, I'm miserable. Like it really brings joy to me. Just like networking, filming, radio, and it's like I'm helping people. Here we go, but I'm helping people too at the same time with the radio stuff.
Yes, that is a theme we shall return to in a minute. Here's my last goofy question before we get exactly where you just directed us. If you could meet anybody, in history, alive today, who would you absolutely love to meet?
Don't judge me, okay?
No judgment.
Chris Brown.
Okay, I think he's a genius. Why?
I love him. I don't know, like honestly, for years I had a crush on him, and he's like the top he's like the GOAT of R&B.
I love it. I like you. You're like, look, I think he's cute and I want to meet him.
Yeah, no. I mean, it is what it is, right?
Listen. Look, if Steve-O could think the Tinder swindler is just a playboy, you can meet Chris Brown.
Amen to that.
So, let's get to the heart of the matter, because I know that this conversation represents so many people who find themselves in a similar predicament. And I'm going to begin this way. You were raised by your grandmother. Talk to me about your grandmother and how she raised you.
Okay, so I ain't gonna lie, I was a little sheltered. Mm-hmm. Her and my grandpa were old fashioned. They're from overseas. They're foreign. So, they have a little bit different ways where it's like more, don't do this. Let me do this. You don't do this. I'm going to cater to you. You can't be independent, more or less. So, but she did a good job. We've all, been bad kids at one point, but she did a wonderful job. Like they did shelter me, and it kind of affected me. And my grandma was always that one that was like, she had to give to everybody, but like up until she passed away, in February, like me and her basically were really close, and none of my family wanted to take care of her. So I cared for her for the last 3 years of her life. She lived in my house with me.
Oh wow. No, that's an honorable work. That's an honor, no doubt about it. That's an honorable work. And so she was, if I'm hearing you correctly, she was a lot of your example. She was a lot of your experience. How did the experience of seeing her make those sacrifices, her generosity, how did that shape you?
I think, like, honest to God, that made me be the person I am today. And I'm not saying it's super negative, but part of it is because, like, I watched my grandma, like, do for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, she gave her life raising her kids, her grandchildren. It's like catered to my grandfather. So I kind of took on the positive and negative traits of her, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes absolute sense, because often we learn who we are, and we learn how to respond from the world that surrounds us. So it makes total sense that you would sort of manifest the way that you do, because that's what you saw, right?
Basically.
Yeah, no, and it is not it's not an excuse, it's a reason. And people don't understand the difference, that when somebody tells you why they are a certain way, they're not giving you an excuse, they're telling you why they are a certain way. And if you want to understand them, you got to understand that. So here's my question, okay? So you're here because you say yes. You're here because you affirm and you are generous. But give me an example of some of the things you say yes to. Like, what are you saying yes to?
I mean, like, if someone asks me something, like, I don't know, it could be, we'll use my work. Like, I try to help a lot of local artists, because, like, the mainstream guys, they really don't need me. Like, I can interview them, but they don't really need my push because they already have PR, etc., right? So, like, they might be in my inbox like, oh, can you do this? Can you do this? And I know there's fees if I, like, promote them, but it's like, oh, okay, I got you. Because it's like, I'll feel bad, think they don't have no money. They're just, struggling, trying to be artists. Like, my kids might say, even though my kids do help me too, it's like, they might be like, oh, Mom, I need this. And I'd be like, well, I don't really have it. But then it's like, oh, I'll give you my last anyway. I'll get it right back. Stuff like that is hard not to say no.
Okay. So here's the great question. Is anybody saying yes to you?
Some people.
Okay. And tell me some of the things that they're saying yes to you about.
So I have a couple of friends, but I can, like, count on my hand, to be honest with you, if I was in a situation that they would drop everything for me and come to me. Like, I have a couple of females in my life that are like sisters to me. And then I have family too, but it's like they really have my back. Like, if I called and I was in a bad situation, oh, my car broke down, I need $3,000. I do have a friend, she would drop everything and bring it to me. I do have people like that, but it's less than more. You know what I mean? And I do more than people do back for me.
Got it. But at least you do have people in your life who, when you call, they show up. When you need, they pull it together and make sure that you get what you need. But here's my question before I take this break. Here's my question, because I'm hearing that on some level you kind of feel responsible. Okay, what makes?
Why?
Yeah, I was going to ask you the question. Why do you think you feel responsible?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Okay. Well, we'll discover the answer together. Okay. So let's discover the answer this way. Tell me what you think would happen if you said no.
I don't want to feel some type of way and their feelings be hurt. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings.
Okay. Let's go further, because this is good. Tell me how these people in your life treat you when you do say no. Because I'm sure sometimes you say you can't do something. How do they treat you when you can't do it?
Their energy it'll just feel like, oh, she's acting funny, or oh, I know she does. Oh, for example, like, if someone calls me like, can I get a ride? I've said no before if I was busy, and it's like you can feel the energy, like, oh, she's just, being mean or acting funny. I don't like to feel that energy from people.
Okay. Okay. Listen, I like you so much, but you and I are so fundamentally different, and I'll tell you how. I
Okay.
don't give a damn about somebody's energy changing because I've decided that I'm not driving halfway across the city to pick you up to get ice cream. And I don't care.
I feel you.
So here's my question. Are you afraid to lose people?
You know what? Maybe. Maybe.
That's the
It's
difference.
almost like you try to dig deep inside and you want to know, like, on some serious stuff, like, why? Maybe it is like I have this fear of like, oh, you're not going to like me no more because I said no. But it's like, at the end of the day, why should I care if someone don't like me because I'm protecting me or I can't help you?
No, I think that. See, I'm enjoying talking to you. First of all, just know that I love your spirit.
Likewise.
I could totally see you in television, movies, everything. You have that thing you gotta have. So I love the conversation. But you also put your finger on something so important. Most of us are afraid to lose people. Most of us are afraid to lose people, especially if you lost someone early on in your life. So you said that you were raised by your grandparents, right? I'm assuming some configuration happened with your parents. So whenever you're not loved by the people you should be loved with or have those relationships, that's me too. I'm preaching to me, just so you know. We always are scared to lose people. But what would you say if I told you, Rebecca, that not everybody in your story are supposed to finish with you at the end?
I believe you 100%. Because sometimes I believe that the universe and God removes people out of your life when they're not supposed to like elevate or go with you where you're going.
Yeah. Listen, I got to take this break, but let me pour this in your spirit real quick.
Okay.
The one thing I want you to get over the fear of is losing people. Because the people who are with you cannot leave you. And the people who are against you cannot stay. You got a shoe we could both throw at the camera together? Because that's shoe throwing. The people who are with you cannot leave you, and the people who are against you, they cannot stay. Do not be afraid to lose people. Do not be afraid, because that's the one thing I had to be delivered from in my life is deliver me from the need to need people. Thinking that some part of me can't happen unless some part of them is around. You follow what I'm saying? What the same creator that brought them to you will bring somebody else. Nobody has all the pieces to the puzzle that you need to get to where you're going. And I have a sense of your energy, your vibe, your spirit, and I know you're a blessed woman. I haven't seen you prior, but I know you're a blessed woman, and I know that your blessings will not be dictated by who stays or who goes. Your blessings are determined by you.
Amen.
Let's take a break, people. I'm just getting started. We're right back. Welcome back, everybody. I'm talking to Rebecca Bradley. And Rebecca, you just have such a great spirit and a great energy to you. You do. Where are you from, by the way?
Detroit, Michigan.
You're a Detroit girl?
Yes.
Okay. I got an East Coast vibe from you. Okay, well, I love it. Listen, I love Detroit, and so I'm all for that. So here's my question. Because I think I have a sense of what the challenge for you happens to be, and I think it's a very common challenge. I think it's related to people. I think it's related to the example that you've set, and I also think it's related to the fact that you have a heart and a spirit to help people, and that people know that. And like I said during my headline, you heard me during my headlines, right? People will take advantage of you if you let them. You know.
You're right.
If you don't draw a boundary, they'll say fine with me. If you don't have a boundary, I don't want you to have one either. So here's my so I want to now that I have a sense of the problem, let's put one foot in the problem and one foot in the solution. Here's the solution. Tell me what you want for your life. What's your dream scenario for your life?
Like as far as like just like working and stuff?
I mean work, romance, friendship, whatever comes to mind, whatever your heart gives.
Okay. Well, I've also been like this in relationships a little bit. So I need like, a good partner that's not going to compete with me and be envious of like my career. I definitely want to start, doing more in the film industry, the television. I mean, I really enjoy it. And that's kind of what I want. I want my kids to be happy. I just want that. I want to be happy. Good partner, good career, and just to the top.
Okay, listen, now, perfect. Here's why. Ooh, this is about to get good. You ready for this? This is about to get good. All right. I love it when people have the ambition that you have, because I think everybody, I love the fact that people want love and they want to be, with someone. I'm here for that every day of the week. But here's the thing you got to remember. You have to, okay, the scripture says this. He who finds a wife finds a good thing, right? That's what the scripture says. Here's what it means. She has to be a wife before he finds her. Okay. So it's not the dress that makes her a wife. It's not the wedding that makes her a wife. It's not even him that makes her a wife. She was a wife before he showed up, meaning she did the work and created the space to have a husband so that she could be a wife. That's what I want to say to you. The reason you have to start saying no to people and creating boundaries with people is that there's no room for anybody. There's no room for a special person if you say yes to everybody. There's no room for someone to have a special designation in your life if people feel as if they can come in and out of your space, right? Your emotional, psychological, financial space, right? And take and borrow and need from you. You got to start zoning off parts of you that's only for him.
Right.
This part of me, this yes, ain't for you. It's for him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And my point is, you have to do that when you don't have someone. You don't wait until you have someone to develop the ability to do that. You do that now. And when you do that now, when you start doing that now, rather, the universe, life, God will say she's ready. Will say she's ready.
That makes sense.
Yeah, let me say it again. Will say she's ready. You're ready now, because now you've done the work of making room for what you prayed for. There's so many people in the world who pray for things and don't make room for it, and then they wonder why they don't get it. Well, you didn't make room for it. You got to make room for it. And I'm saying to you, if you can't find any other reason to sort of tell people, listen, I'm sorry, I love you to death, but I can't do that, or I can't do that as much, or I can't do it at the level you want me to. And you don't have to say no. You don't have to say like, no, go to hell. That's what I would say. That's me. I'm from Brooklyn. No, go to hell. Forget your mama. I forget your mama ever had you. But pray for me. I'm not suggesting you go all the way there. I'm saying take incremental steps where you say to someone, can't do it that often. Can't do it that much.
Right.
I can't do it at that level. And the more you do it, the more you develop the ability to really, when the hard decision comes, you practice enough, you trust yourself enough, you're confident enough to tell people, now that I cannot do. I don't care if my grandmama did it. I don't care if my auntie did it. I don't care if I saw every woman in my family doing it. I ain't doing it.
Right.
And more than that, Rebecca, it gives you the opportunity to start to create the space in your heart, space in your mind, space in your house, space in your time, space in your money, right? Space in your career for someone to come and to love you the way you deserve. Until you create the space, you can't expect the person.
You're right.
Yeah, what you think about that? Talk to me, Rebecca. Talk to me.
That sounds really good. That's some good knowledge and, good stuff you're telling me, because it's something I'm really going to think about. Like, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah. You see, I think people think that setting boundaries, it's kind of become cliche, right? Set your boundaries. Tell people no. And they do their head like this. Tell people no. Set your boundaries. But it's not cliche. There's a real spiritual principle being practiced. And the spiritual principle that's being practiced is that when the student is ready, the teacher will show up. When the lover is ready, the romance will show up.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Is that why sometimes you keep repeating the same patterns and the same type of like men and relationships come into your life because you have like that heaviness or you're not clear like you're saying?
Absolutely. It's because what we do is we're still sending out the same vibe, the same energy, the same spirit. We think that we're over the person, And we may be over the person, but what we're not over is the attitude and the deductions and the reasoning that allowed us to accept that person in the first place. You see, if you find yourself in a cycle dealing with the same kind of people, just with different names, the problem is never them. It's always something in you that keeps choosing from the same space. You're choosing from the same position. In order to make a different choice, you got to change the ground that you choose from. Does this make sense?
Oh yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Listen, and I've been there too, right? So we choose because we want security. That's the main thing we want. I want to be safe. So you're choosing people that project security, they feign security, but they don't have empathy. They don't have character. They big and strong, but they lie and cheat. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
First of all, your face is a... How do you not love Rebecca, people? So listen, I gotta let you go, but have you gotten something out of this?
I did. Thank you, because you probably just saved my life, and I'm gonna practice everything that you're preaching because I don't take my own advice.
Listen, I'm glad about that. But I mean this, and I'm gonna take this break, y'all. Y'all calm down in this control room. But listen, you do deserve to be loved, and you do deserve to be cared for. And you deserve to tell people no. You deserve to watch people have to go through the changes of watching you stand up for yourself. And sometimes no is the only way you know if somebody really cares about you, because it's not love until somebody does something you don't like.
True.
So, listen, I literally could talk to you for 2 hours, but they probably would fire me. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. Listen, everybody, when we come back, we're going to do some Ask Dr. Sean. Got some crazy questions. You guys always send me great questions. These are no different. Rebecca's question was really great, too. Great show tonight. We'll be right back. Rebecca Bradley, she was fun, right? Great talking to her. I wish her well. I know that love will find her, and I'm certain that it will find her ready to receive it. Great conversation. So, you know, you guys always send me great videos and great emails and direct messages, and I'm always appreciative of the time that you take to send them. And so let's watch a video together.
All right, hey, Dr. Sean, my name is Corey. I'm from Woodland Hills, California, and I really need your help on this one, brother. I've been in a relationship for about 4 years, and I do admit there's been some infidelity issues on my part, creeping out, doing the wrong thing, but I was honest. I really tried to forgive myself, and my girl told me that she'd forgive me too, but I find her following me, not really trusting me. It's like if I go anywhere without her, she really doesn't even believe me at all in anything that I'm trying to do, and she barely trusts me when we together. I mean, honestly, brother, low key, I'm nervous that she even watching me do this video, but I really need your help on what should I do. Is my relationship doomed? I really want to start a family, and I really see myself with her and building a life. So help a brother out. What do I need to do? Am I doomed? Am I wrong? Help me right my wrongs. Dr. Sean, I'm depending on you for this one.
Well, don't put all that pressure on me. No, great question, man. Thank you for that. I got a couple of things I want to give you, all right? Here's the first thing. Her behavior is normal. It is rational. It is ultimately intelligent. You released out into the universe of your relationship the principle of infidelity, dishonesty, cheating, okay? She would be an idiot to ignore the fact that behavior, that principle has been released. She's doing what anybody would do, and that is to be concerned, to be worried, to be vigilant, to want clarity, you know what I'm saying? Now, of course, people tend to take that too far, and I don't know if she's doing that, but you should not expect her to do anything different than what she's doing, all right? When you violate trust, you can't get mad when people don't trust you. Those two things don't go together. So you violated trust, so now you have to work with her almost on her terms to get back to the place where she can trust you again, okay? And you don't get to decide after you violate trust when someone should trust you again, because that's narcissistic and selfish, and you don't appear to be that kind of person. But a lot of people do that without even realizing that they're doing it. Well, I hurt you, I apologize, you said you forgive me, why aren't you over it? Because that's not how it works, okay? So you cheated, I found out, you apologized, you told me I forgave you, but that has nothing to do with me trusting you. Okay? She's got to work her way back to that. If the shoe was on the other foot, you'd have to work your way back to that. But let me give you the guy cheat code. Okay? Steve-O, wake up, son. I'm about to help you. Here's the guy, I shouldn't have used cheat code. That was not the phrase to use with this question, but you know what I'm trying to say. Here's what men do. What men often do is that we violate the sanctity of the relationship, we violate the fidelity, and then we show up and say we're sorry, right? And then we keep moving with life. What we don't realize is that what we ought to be doing is, if we make a mistake, you admit the mistake, you're honest about it, you seek forgiveness, and then, here's the important part, you invite the person that you're in relationship with into your internal conversation about how you feel about what you did. See, what most men don't do is that we don't allow women or whoever it is we're dating, we don't allow the other person into the internal conversation. Now, see, you'll call your boy and say, man, I can't believe I did that. Like, what was I thinking, right? And you'll have that internal conversation with him or with a friend, but when you show up in the presence of the one that you cheated on, it's all polished, it's all Superman, no Clark Kent. Here's the point I'm making. The way you help people move back to a position of trust with you is to give them access to that internal conversation. Have the internal conversation about what you did with them. Then they get to experience how truly remorseful you are. They get to experience how truly broken you are about what you did. When you just say, I'm sorry and I didn't mean it, right? But then you don't give any filler. You don't give them any kind of psychological position, nothing. Then people don't know if you're serious. They don't know if you mean it. They don't even know if you really heard about it. And most men make a mistake and then they show up as Superman. No. When you make a mistake, you got to show up as Clark Kent without your cape, without the S on your chest, and you got to let the brokenness and the fact that you're contrite and the fact that you are remorseful, let that be part of the exchange between you and the person you hurt. Don't give your heart an internal conversation to people you didn't hurt. God, this is good. Give it to the person you hurt, and they will line up with you 2 times as fast. You follow what I'm saying? All right. I think that's all I need to say on that. Just make sure that you hang in there, okay? And don't be unrealistic as it relates to what you are expecting from her. She'll come around. She'll get there. But she's earned the right to get there on her own terms. You can help her if you give her access to how you really feel and how you really feel about what you did. Hang in there. You'll be all right. Here's a quick one. My stepdaughter who I raised as my child is getting married. I was heartbroken when my wife told me she asked her biological father to walk her down the aisle. Should I talk to her about how I feel, or should I just leave it alone? Quick answer is you should do both. You should let her know that you affirm her decision because it's her wedding and she gets to do whatever she wants to do. But you are a bit heartbroken because it was something that you were hoping to have the chance to do. But you do honor her decision and her choices. I think the thing that you have to remember is that it's her wedding. It's her life. It's her marriage. It's her moment. It's her choice. And the hardest part about love is loving somebody when we're not their choice. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. That was a good question. That last question about the stepfather and the daughter wanting somebody else to walk her down the aisle. That would hurt. That would hurt. I understand the pain of that. That would definitely hurt. But listen, like I said, love, it's hard loving people, Anyway, let's do some more Ask Dr. Sean. Let's take a look at a video sent in by Tish.
Hi, Dr. Sean. I need some advice. I have a girlfriend who critiques everything that I wear. She says that I always dress up too much or way too sexy. Do you think that this is a sign of jealousy or her lacking effort when going out?
That's a little shady, huh? Her lacking effort when going out. Ooh, okay. All right, so a couple of things here. First, thank you for the question, but here's a couple of things. The first thing is, let's do the hard work first of assessing if the statement of the critique has any validity. I don't know. But ask yourself whether or not there may be something valid to the critique. Do you dress a certain way that may not always be in accordance to the moment that you're dressing for? Ask yourself that hard question before we move on to whether or not and how you should respond to her. And I'm saying that because it's just good habit. It's just a good habit and good practice to admit for a second into your consciousness some level of the critique. To say, okay, does this critique have any validity, any substance in fact at all? Okay? And if you decide that it doesn't, then we can move on. But if it does, then your friend who challenged you, who annoys you, has actually blessed you. So make sure that the critique of your friend isn't a blessing in disguise. Someone who's trying to protect you from behavior that you don't realize that you're doing. All right, you got that? Okay, good. Let's get to the part that I'm sure you want me to get to. All right. It may be the case that when people are jealous of you, they sort of put forward withering critiques of you because it's their way sort of chopping you down to size, okay? And it may also be the case, as you put it, in your classic and humorously shady way, that they may not be trying hard enough to look as good as you do, or they may not even be capable of looking as good as you do. Okay, but here's my real answer to this whole situation. When it is all said and done, what your friend says about what you wear, as long as you're comfortable with it, is immaterial. It is irrelevant to how you should be feeling about what you're doing. I said this to people a lot on this show, and I'm going to say it to you. Sometimes we have to get used to criticism and critique at a certain level, because the higher you go, the more visceral the critique and the criticism will be. And if you can't handle people not liking what you're doing down here, then you'll never be able to handle it when you get up here. And if up here is where you're destined to go, sometimes life will let you have it down here, let you be criticized down here, so you can build up the spiritual antibodies and the resistance and the muscle memory you need to handle it, to flick it off your shoulder and keep on going. If I were you, I wouldn't even address it. I wouldn't even let it faze me. If I was comfortable in what I was wearing or doing or being, I would let her say whatever she wants to say. And then I would get into my nice car and show up to wherever it is I'm trying to go. You follow what I'm saying? Learn now how to hear it, how to pick it up and let it go. How to let people say whatever the hell they want to say. But you are determined to a certain level of who you are that's beyond what it is they have to say. You follow me? So don't even worry about your friend. And you know, maybe this is an opportunity for the two of you to see whether or not this friendship that began under certain conditions can survive under a new set of conditions. And the new condition is you don't give a damn about what she has to say. This might be all of this might be happening so that you can shed somebody from your life that you didn't have sense enough or the courage enough or the wherewithal enough to get rid of outside of the possibility of conflict. Maybe this conflict is coming so that this person can no longer be a part of the rest of the story. As I told Rebecca tonight, not everybody in your story right now is going to be there when you get to the end. So I would just keep it moving. I wouldn't give people the benefit or the energy or the glory that they want, knowing that I came down from my throne to address them. I told somebody the other day that, listen, I'm not arguing with people. That's not. What did Dr. John Henry Clark say? Dr. John Henry Clark said, I only argue with my equals. All others I teach. Let me do my last question. Someone emailed this one to me. Growing up, my family didn't have a lot of money. I can't read. Now that I'm older, I'm a cheapskate because my fear of not having enough money still haunts me. How do I get over being frugal? Well, first of all, I'm not sure you should get over being frugal. I think it's absolutely good to be frugal. Steve and I were just talking about being frugal about dinner tonight. Listen, there's nothing wrong with being frugal. Now, it is a problem living with fear. The fear of losing something is a problem always. Because as Job said in the scriptures, that I fear the most has come upon me. Whatever it is that you fear the most, you're going to have to live with eventually. It's going to come knocking on your door. And if you give it the energy and the focus of your fear, it's going to manifest in your life. So the best way not to ever have to end up without having enough money is to not be afraid of having to end up without any money. I practice this in my own life. I'm telling you, I know it for myself. In my mind, I have already gone through all the worst case scenarios of what might happen. And I have decided that I'm not afraid of that. If I got to sleep in my car, I'm not afraid of that. If I gotta sleep on Steve's couch, I ain't afraid. Would you let me sleep on your couch? He's lying. He wouldn't. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not. I refuse to be afraid of any scenario, so that I'm never in a meeting where you can manipulate me with keeping a job. I'm never in a meeting where you could hold it over me because I don't get a paycheck. I've already, before I came in this meeting, I have deduced that I might lose my job. Before I got in this moment, I have put myself in homelessness. And I've come back to the meeting to tell you, you can still go to hell. Because I don't live with fear. And that's what I'm telling you. Don't let people manipulate you with fear. And don't you manipulate yourself with it. Guess I'm running out of time. You're going to be all right. Thank you, Rebecca, for being a part of the show. She's an amazing young sister. I wish her well. Listen, everybody. Create room for love. That's when it shows up. Okay? Thank you for watching. I'll see you on Monday. I love you, people.